Don in London, hello. April the 18th, 2009, Saturday morning, and it's a bit of sunshine, 9:20. My video's all about recovery from addiction. That's recovery from addiction to either substance or behaviour. My substance, alcohol, for many years. My behaviour, trying to be perfect, never so. Stuck in many isms. Alcoholism, workaholic, relationship-holic, I guess. Trying to be perfect, never so. And when everything else failed, I tried to do health as well. And I don't know, I think sometimes we are so blind to our denial of something wrong with us. And for me, I think alcohol was the biggest denial I ever had. And I think I only got into denial once I realised that it was a problem. So how long did it take me to get there? Probably about 30 years. And the reason why, in my life, many examples of the generation's drinkers. There was something about drinking and being a man, and drinking more than anybody else. This thing of being able to drink anybody under the table. I guess that was one of my fortes, if you like. I don't know whether it was a good thing or a bad thing at the time. It was just the way life was. And one of the things I've learned in recovery is simply don't blame anybody for anything. People try to do their best, and sometimes their best is their worst to us. So no blame and no denial these days, and owning up to being what I am, a person simply in recovery one day at a time. So what helps me most is the fellowship of AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, and there are 600 meetings in London or more per week where I can go get a bit of experience, strength and hope to keep on a sober path. And it's a one-day program. You know, some people have been doing it for a long time, so they have many years of sobriety. I only have a few, and that's good, because any one day where we don't actually have to take a drink to make life work, or take the edge off, or to celebrate something, means that we're dealing with reality, or closer to the reality that we can find. And still we have denials and filters around what is good and bad for us, and so often we indulge in things which are fairly harmless, but could be harmful if they became another addiction. So if we drink and we stop, we have to watch out for other behaviour which makes us want to do other things, and it's the addiction coming out sideways, and these days I'm aware of that. So less of the I suppose, what's the word, compulsive craving behaviour, and more of the simply getting on with what is possible and understanding what is not possible. So in the olden days I was driven by, as I said many times, 1,000 forms of fear. Fear of being found out, fear of not being good enough, fear of never ever being good enough for anybody. And this strive for perfectionism probably came from my very early days, where I wanted to be left alone to my own devices and not bullied or pushed or made fun of. And we all get that sometime in our lives. And there are plenty of bullies out there. And somebody was relating a story to me recently, not somebody in the rooms of AA or part of the fellowship, but they were just being bullied incessantly to produce more and more and more from nothing, a commission-only job. And they left it because they didn't need this bullying. And at least they got out of that one, and that's a good thing. And I didn't realise that I was subject to bullying in my work and my career. Not intentionally at first, or if it were, I think it was intentional at the end. And those things are very hard things to admit to. What does a 6'2" intellectually gifted person think he's doing, being bullied? Well, at the time he thought he could get out of it and expose the person for what they were. And I did. And you know what? They relished being called a bully. And it just made it worse. So sometimes, if people are in power over us, we need to ask ourselves, are we in the right place? And these days, if that were to happen, I would say I'm in the wrong place and I'm off, and I don't need to put up with this anymore. Because if I did, then I would be back out drinking and taking the edge off, and in a very sorry state, self-piteous, and thinking the world has done me wrong, when in fact I just didn't have the gumption to get out of the way of somebody who was trying to put a steamroller over me. So I'm learning, just gradually, on a daily basis, how to make life work. And when I woke up this morning, I felt pretty awful, actually. I think I've got a cold coming back. Apart from that, the rest of my life is average to okay. But We don't always get good news in the mail. I've had something through which smells bad, in terms of something which is due me, and it doesn't seem to be quite right. Anyway, I will not discuss it here for now. Alcoholics Anonymous. I speak for myself and how it helps me. I don't speak for AA ever, but I sure do need to use the tools of the program, 12 Steps of Action for an Individual and 12 Traditions which hold the fellowship together, and also makes me understand my life a little bit better in the context of family, community and society, how I want to be on a daily basis, which is open, honest and willing. And if I'm not careful, I'm rambling. So here is the AA preamble, which always slows me down into the moment, and then I'll utilise one or two readings from the AA literature to illustrate how I'm feeling today. Alcoholics Anonymous is a fellowship of men and women who share their experience, strength and hope with each other, that they may solve their common problem and help others to recover from alcoholism. The only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking. There are no dues or fees for AA membership. We are self-supporting through our own contributions. AA is not allied with any sect, denomination, politics, organisation or institution. Does not wish to engage in any controversy, neither endorses nor opposes any causes. Our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics to achieve sobriety. And I went to a meeting last night, and it was a good meeting, but there was some sharing about one person losing one of their parents to this awful malady, and the consequences of that, and how they felt about it. And you know, it took me back to almost 19 years ago when my father died. We didn't actually realise it was, well, we never talked openly about his alcohol consumption, but it certainly had an impact on his end. And he was sober the last 3 months, and in many ways made amends and had an understanding with all his family, me, my brother, my sister, my mother, about how life had gone and how he felt about it. And the gift in that, you know, for us, we loved him, and although his behaviour over the years was terrible, we did love him. And so we can love a person and often hate their behaviour, and it's how we deal with it on a daily basis. And I think all of us as a family are now more able to deal with life because we went through those experiences, and we've got over the blame game and got on to the message of let's get on with life a day at a time. Anyway, I'm the only alcoholic in the family, so at least other people didn't suffer quite like I did, and maybe that was just because I was too sensitive. Anyway, daily readings or daily reflections, this one. It talks about, for April 18th, self-honesty. It goes on to say, the deception of others is nearly always rooted in the deception of ourselves. When we are honest with another person, it confirms that we've been honest with ourselves and with God, or our good conscience. When I was drinking, I deceived myself about reality, rewriting it to what I wanted it to be. Deceiving others is a character defect, even if it is just stretching the truth a bit or cleaning up my motives so others would think well of me. My higher power, in my case my good conscience, can remove this character defect, but first I have to help myself by becoming willing to receive that help, by not practicing deception. I need to remember each day that deceiving myself about myself is setting myself up for failure or disappointment in life and in Alcoholics Anonymous. A close, honest relationship with a higher power, or good conscience, and a good conscience, is the only solid foundation I found for honesty with self and others. And you know what, it's a practice, it's something to practice on a daily basis. And I'm just checking my time, that's the only reading I've got time for. But this self-honesty, and then receiving information in a post which is erroneous, it could make me angry. And what I've learned is that life goes as it may, and it's not over till it's over. So if something can be corrected, it can be, but I'm not going to hang on to it with a touch of anger or frustration or depression. I'm just going to get on with my life as it is today. Nothing has changed from yesterday to today except one thing. I have a bit more information about how to keep sober. So when I say, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, I will do that in the day, so I know where I can have a difference, which is to the good, but good, not my good, but everybody's good. So there we go, enough of me for now.